All right, 9:43, let's get started. Everybody doing okay today?
Yes, thank you.
Good deal. So I got this email this morning and I just couldn't help myself. It seemed like a perfect example of a negative newsletter. So I just wanted to share it with you and it just ticks all the boxes, right? So let's take a look at it. So I don't know if you guys know what 1Password is. It's an app that I use. Keeps all your passwords in one place. You just have to have one password to get to all the passwords. Anyway, they're raising the price. And if you kind of look at the structure of this, it goes through exactly what we've been doing, right? So it starts off with an opening, which is positive, no bad news in the opening. How great 1Password is. And then it gets into the body, where it kind of gives you the, still not the bad news. It's giving you the reasons why they're so great. And then, okay, we get to the bad news part. And even then, notice it starts off with the while, right? So it's subordinating. While we've all done this great stuff, we haven't changed our price, right? So that's a dependent clause linked to an independent clause. And then we're going to update our price, new price, going to take effect. And then closing, positive ends on a positive note, right? We're deeply grateful for your continued trust and support. Thank you. So I don't know, whoever wrote this email took my course, maybe. I don't know, read the book. So, I thought it was useful to show you this because it's like, this isn't an academic exercise. This is real life. This is how the world goes. All right. Elise, you're giving a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, we're in week 5. And so what we've covered up till now, we started off with just your plain vanilla direct claims, direct replies, direct requests, which is, the large portion of messaging that you'll do in business. That was one of the quiz questions that I'm noticing. A lot of people picked the not the best answer there. Because probably we've been focusing on other things in the last few weeks, but that's the meat of everything. It's just there's no controversy, direct message strategy. You don't expect, negative feedback or anything. That's the vast majority of messaging that you'll do. Given that, that's why we did that first. The other things we're doing with the negative messaging and whatever, we're just kind of following the cone down, so they got the big part of the cone is normal, regular direct message strategy, claims, complaints, whatever. And then, as the cone gets smaller, we get more of the negative messages. And this week and next week, we're kind of getting to the end of that cone, which is persuasive messages. We're going to sort of layer this on top of all the other things that we've already learned. So what we're going to do is a couple of assignments. We're going to analyze and compose some persuasive requests. So it's got the same set of things: requests, claims, and complaints. And then for the grammar part, it's plural nouns, which if you did 156, this will be review. So what we're going to do is the usual. We're going to go through all the module pages. The reading is sections 8.1 to 8.3. Have some additional lecture material on persuasive messages. What I just said above, we're going to do those things. We're going to take a look at how to form plural nouns, little module quiz, and a discussion. So just the usual. Okay. The recording's going. All right. So persuasive message. I'm not sure why they did this first bullet point here. It seems a little bit of a weird place to put it. But as you probably already know by now, on social media, we all tend to get in our echo chambers, right? Where we gravitate towards like-minded opinions. So, those are highly susceptible to confirmation bias, and they call those opinion bubbles. So maybe the reason they're doing that as a bullet point one is persuasiveness is a way to kind of maybe change that. So this guy Perloff defines persuasion as a symbolic process in which communicators try to convince other people to change their attitudes or behaviors regarding an issue through transmission of a message and atmosphere of free choice. So this last part's the important one, atmosphere of free choice. So there's persuasion and there's coercion. So we're not talking about coercion at all. Persuasion is your attempt to persuade someone, but they're in an atmosphere of free choice. They're making the choice. You're not forcing anything on them. This isn't anything underhanded or illegal or immoral, anything like that. This is just persuasion, which every day we're bombarded with through advertising. So let's go through these bullet points, see if we can understand them. So persuasion is a symbolic process. Most effective ads, like you see on television, have a lot of symbolism in them. They don't have just a talking head sitting there giving you facts. So that's the main part of this process is using symbolism. Involves an attempt to influence. Yeah, so not coercing you or influence you, and it's just an attempt. Persuasion is self-persuasion. So again, we can't coerce you to do something. You have to make these decisions on your own. So you're actually persuading yourself into whatever decision we're trying to lead you to. And this whole technique that we're going to learn today is how to make that happen. We're transmitting a message, I think that's obvious, and it requires free choice. If any of these are the takeaway, that's the one. It has to be in an atmosphere where who you're talking to, who you're sending the message to, they're going to end up making their choice. So if you go too far with the persuasion, too much pressure, it causes what's called reactance, where I think we've all felt this. Feel like, hey, back off, buddy, you're pushing me too hard here. Like you go to buy a used car and the guy's there, you know. So, makes you feel cornered, makes you feel like you're not in that atmosphere of free choice, and it makes you feel like you're being given sort of a black and white fallacy, which is you don't have all these free choices in your life. You only can choose from this or that, which is a lie, right? We're getting a lot of that right now in the world. So here's some psychological triggers that aid persuasion. So these are the kind of I wouldn't say tools, but things to think about when you're trying to write a persuasive message. So reciprocation. Someone does us a favor, most of us feel obligated to return the favor. You know how you get those junk mails and they are from some charitable thing and they have the nickel like hot glued in there? Why do you think they do that? Because it's like, oh, they gave me a nickel. Well, I feel compelled to reciprocate by giving them money or joining their thing, whatever. Or like Doctors Without Borders, they send you the thing, they give you a free little tote bag or whatever. Well, now you feel, oh, I'm obligated, right, to give something back. Yeah, Carlos, you raise your hand.
Yeah, they did that to me with the census thing. They gave me $5,
Yes,
and it's like it's so annoying because I never forget it. Now every time I send a letter, I feel like obligated, and
exactly.
I almost wish they never sent the $5.
Oh, completely. I know. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know which exactly you're talking about, but I got that for like what television shows are you watching survey kind of thing? What do they call it? Nielsen ratings.
Yeah,
And I fell for it. It was like, oh, $5. Hey, I'll do this. It's like, really? Took me like half an hour. It's like not worth my time. So yeah, that's probably like the number one like lever you can use, right? For persuasion is make them feel like they need to reciprocate. Okay, number two, commitment. So like we all have this sort of bias. Once we make a choice, we want to reinforce that choice. Like, yeah, that was the right choice. We made the right choice. And even if like the world turns on us, and I think the political spectrum right now is a perfect example of this. People are still like, no, I'm still making the right choice there, even though facts and reality are in their face. So once you've decided on something, you tend to reinforce that decision. So how this can manifest itself in these persuasive messages is if you donated once to some charity, you're very likely to donate again in the coming years. Number 3, social proof. It's basic human nature that we look around and like, what are other people doing? Are they doing this too? Oh, if they're doing it too, then I guess I should do it as well. And now with social media, this is on steroids. So, anything you can do in your persuasive message to say, well, see, other people are doing it. The classic one is 9 out of 10 doctors think this toothpaste is great, right? That's both social proof and authority. We'll get to that in a second. We're more likely to accept requests from people we know and like, or those who say they like us. So yeah, the best salesmen in the world, they're like very likable personalities. I think influencers on YouTube, whatever, they tap into this. And if you like them or you think they like you, you're more apt to accept their persuasion. Okay, 5, authority. If you exude authority, even if it's not real, it kind of triggers a blind mechanical compliance in us, another human nature thing. Oh, well, they must know what they're talking about. Again, the 9 out of 10 doctors. Oh, he's a doctor. Even though the guy says, I'm not really a doctor, I only play one on TV, we still like, oh, but he's got the white thing on and the stethoscope. He must know what he's talking about. He's just an actor. And then scarcity. I'm sure you see this on all the late night ads on TV. Order now, limited quantities. You really think they have limited quantities? You really think they can't make more? All right. So using those sort of human psychology things, how can we turn those into techniques? So establish credibility. That's the, taps into the authority thing, right? Show you're truthful, experienced, and knowledgeable. Use others' expert opinions and research to support your position. Make a reasonable, specific requests. Make the request completely, absolutely clear, not vague. This is what I want you to do. Be clear about the objective. Tie facts to benefits. So, at the beginning I said talking head saying facts is not really persuasive, but that's going to end up being like in the body of your message. You're going to have some facts, but kind of like you just saw with the 1Password thing, you want to link those facts up with how does it help you, right? What's in it for you is, what's in it for me is always the thing you're trying to keep in your mind when you're writing these things. So sure, give your facts, but back them up with or link them up with how this is actually going to help the person. Recognize the power of loss. So this is another really powerful lever you can pull on. If you don't do what I'm trying to persuade you to do, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be horrible. Bad things are going to happen. Used to be an ad, this is going way back, for some laundry detergent where it was like, oh no, you have a ring around the collar. It's like, my husband, comes home from work with a ring around the collar. So they invented a problem and they're telling you, if you don't use our laundry soap, this bad thing's going to happen to you. Your husband's going to go to work and get made fun of. And then losing out, FOMO. We all know that certainly from social media. You want to tap into that. Well, if you don't do what I'm asking you to do, you might end up losing something you already have. We've all, experienced this from the day we were born with all the ads and stuff on television and YouTube and all that. And so we've built up sort of this natural defense against this stuff. We know the story for the most part, but it's very insidious how they can get into our brains. Anyway, as the creator of this message, you're going to have to anticipate that, people know the drill here, and you have to expect some opposition You don't want them to feel like we were mentioning before, that they're not in an atmosphere of free choice, that they're not being cornered or offered a limited subset of options. So yeah, conflicting beliefs, values, attitudes, be prepared to counter those with arguments and facts. Be flexible and aim for a solution that's acceptable to all parties and listen to people, incorporate their input to create buy-in. I mean, those are true all the time, right? Okay, so that's techniques. Now, how about planning this message out? So almost universally, these persuasive messages are going to use the indirect message strategy, going to kind of sneak up on you. And this writing plan, which we're going to also go over in the slides with some graphics. So we start with the opening. As always, we want to use an opening that captures the reader's attention and interest, might describe a problem, make some unexpected statement, suggest, hey, this was a benefit for you, offer praise or compliments, or ask some kind of stimulating question. It's really just a way to sort of pique their interest, right? And then in the body, you build on that interest. And again, these aren't different than what we've already been doing. Kind of the same idea, pretty much the same idea. Explain logically and concisely the purpose of the request. Use your facts and statistics, expert opinions, examples. What's in it for them? Focus on the direct or indirect benefits. And then the last, I think these are all pretty obvious. Anticipate objections, offer counter arguments in advance. Try to establish your credibility. And then in the closing, again, same thing we've kind of been doing. Ask for a particular, very clear action. Make it easy for them to take that action. I think the best advice I ever got for business was don't make it hard for people to give you their money. I don't know how many times, you've been through something and you're like, I just want to buy this thing, but there's like no way to, there's no buy now button kind of thing. It's like, make it easy for them to take the action. And then always close with courtesy, respect, and gratitude. And again, as always, the written request may require more preparation than face-to-face, but that extra preparation can pay off in being more effective, as we've seen that written letters are just more effective. Okay, so now we get to the actual writing of it. So this is, like I said, we always have the set, we have the requests, and then we have the claim or complaint on the other end of it. So we can still use pervasive techniques even when we're making a claim or a complaint. So, again, same thing, complaints deliver bad news. Yeah, persuasive claims, same thing. They can involve the same thing we've been looking at claims, broken things, missing shipments, things out of warranty. So for these, you have to use your judgment, whether you're going to be direct strategy or indirect strategy. Again, if you can assume that you're making this complaint and the assumption is they're going to listen to it and do something about it, then probably the direct strategy is okay. But if you've been having trouble and getting pushback and they're not answering your questions, maybe you want to switch to the indirect strategy. Okay, so let's look at same kind of drill, but for making the claims. Again, this is pretty much what we've already been doing. Open with sincere praise, explain precisely, copies of stuff, close with clear statement of what you want done. So no difference there. No difference here. Try to get your anger and emotion out of it. Maybe first draft has some of that. Final draft, try to get it out. Use a moderate tone. So there's really nothing different here than what we've been doing before. Okay. So a few things that I want to reiterate and some extra things. So just kind of restating the same thing here. It's your conscious effort to influence another person because you want to get a specific outcome. But again, it has to be an atmosphere of free choice. So what you're doing is, you can think of it as you're just sort of planting the seed without pushing it. and then let them exercise their free will and making the choice that you're sort of guiding them to. Yeah, well, when would I even consider going in this persuasive thing? Well, if you're expecting resistance from the audience, um, this is where persuasion can come into play. And again, it's what's in it for them. It's a way for you to convince them that this choice is in their best interest. Okay, so here's some 6 things that you can use to aid in your persuasion. We already went through some of these. The thing with the nickel, right? Or the free tote bag or whatever. We seem hardwired if someone gives us something that we need to give them something back, right? The being likable, you're the friendly thief. So if we know a person or they just have that personality which exudes, likability, or if they actually are someone like this is outdated, but people of a certain age will remember Tupperware parties where some friend of yours or neighbor would organize these parties and then try to sell you Tupperware. Well, you know the person, so you already sort of like them, and you're already, on the path of being persuaded. The commitment, yeah, again, we did something, we did some action previously, and now we sort of want to keep reinforcing that we did the right thing. The authority, try to establish your authority because we look up towards authority figures and figure, well, they must know better. And then what are other people doing? We already went through that. And better order now because there's a limited quantity, the scarcity thing. So yeah, again, when we did the everyday normal direct requests and claims, we just use direct message strategy, but with persuasive requests, we're usually going to switch to the indirect strategy. This is just going over things we've already talked about. So here's some actual techniques that sort of tap into those other persuasive factors. You want to establish your credibility. You want to demonstrate to them what would happen if they don't choose the path that you're trying to persuade them to. Make sure that your requests are very specific and easy to do. Expect and overcome any resistance. Anticipate opposition to the path you're trying to lead them down. And then sort of be preemptive with your arguments and facts. Tie the facts to what's going to benefit them, and then be flexible and aim for a solution that's acceptable to all parties. The bigger net you can throw out there, the more fish you're going to catch. I think we kind of pretty much went over all that. I went over all this too. Yeah. All of that too. Okay, so here's sort of some graphics of the plan, the writing plan. So in your opening, pick one of these kinds of things. You want to get their attention and their interest. So I think the most common one is probably suggest what benefits they're going to get out of this. But you can do other things like just say some crazy thing or ask them some question that you might go, oh, really? And then in the body, explain concisely the purpose of your request, prove its merit, use facts, statistics, focus on what's in it for them, both directly and indirectly. More body, anticipate the objections, offer counter arguments, try to establish your credibility, demonstrate your competence, show the value of proposal. And then in the closing, motivate for that action, make it easy to do, and then show courtesy, respect, and gratitude. So if you follow these steps, these last steps here, that will help you in the assignment. This is a little video. I think we're just going to skip over it. It's transcribed here. You can watch it on your own if you like. It just kind of reiterates things we've already said. Okay, so your first assignment here is a persuasive request analysis. So here is an example of a persuasive request. And your job is to read this through, analyze it, find 3 weaknesses, and then revise the letter to get rid of those weaknesses. So this is a person that's trying to request, I guess, this famous chef come and give a talk with them. So using all the tools that we just looked at in the plan, the writing plan, you should look this over, try to find 3 things that don't really fit the writing plan, and then rewrite it addressing those issues. And this is just a text box submission thing. You know the deal there. Okay, so on the other side, this is the complaints and claims and complaints. Yeah. Probably in direct message format. If you've been experienced doing pushback and you're not finding your way. So that's another way to kind of think of this persuasion thing is back in week 1, that was like our first year. We start there, direct. If we're not getting any traction there, maybe we go into the bad news. If we're still not getting any traction there, then we add the persuasiveness to it. So it's sort of like ratcheting up. So in a complaint, again, like you saw earlier in our other claims and complaints exercises, your opening should be, not using direct strategy, not getting to the bad thing immediately. You start off with compliment or something you agree on, or just this is what I've already done, or even just here's my problem. And then in the body, you just precisely describe what's happening, what has happened, copies of any documents that you've already sent in, warranties, appeal to their sense of fairness or legal responsibility, and their desires to satisfy their customer. But in all of this, this is where you can tend to get emotional. So you want to try to pull that back and be objective. And then in the closing of the complaint, clear statement of what you want done. Again, no difference here than the other things. Forward-looking statement, again, same thing as we've always done. Don't blame anyone, appeal to their responsibility and pride in their company, use moderate tone. So nothing really different here. And here's the plan for that. Describe the problem, review of actions you've taken, point of agreement in the body, provide your identifying data, anything that you can use to prove your claim is valid, explain why they're responsible, any documents, attach them. And this is where I think it's a little different than what we've been doing so far. Here we add in the persuasiveness, this appeal to their human nature, sense of fairness, being ethical, and staying on the right side of the law. In the body, more body stuff here. Appeal to your desires for them to give you satisfaction. You can describe your feelings and your disappointment, but don't go overly negative. So avoid sounding angry, emotional, or irrational. Use moderate tone. And in the closing, exactly what you want done. Is it a request for a refund, placement, credit? Tell them what you want done. Okay. And then your second writing exercise is going to be the persuasive claim or complaint letter. So kind of the same thing. You're going to look at this scenario I'm giving you here, and then you're going to compose a persuasive claim letter. This time I want you to do it in Word. So this scenario is a restaurant that hired a lawyer to draw up some contracts, and the lawyer kind of overcharged them or went crazy. And so you're writing back to them saying, hey, I don't think this is fair, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to open up Word using the regular business letter template. You're going to probably copy paste this in just to get started, and then go ahead and analyze it for things that aren't aligned with what we just went over, and do your revision. Okay. All right. So yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time there because it's kind of 80% the same thing we've already been doing in the bad news and direct stuff. It's just adding another layer of persuasion on top of it. Okay, so let's get into the noun plurals. This is our grammar exercise. So remember that nouns have a number, either singular or plural. And to form a plural noun from its singular form, you need to follow certain rules. So we have some cases here we're going to go through. Most nouns can be pluralized just by putting an S on the end. So that's most normal nouns, nouns that end in a vowel plus O, and we'll see in this table, or nouns that end in a vowel plus Y. You just put an S on the end. Okay, the next case, nouns that end in a sibilant sound. So sibilant sound is a sort of hissing sound, sounds like escaping air. So like the CH, SH, SS, X, and Z, the ch, z sounds. I'm also adding just the letter S as well, and we'll talk about that. You need to be careful. So in those cases, just adding an S isn't enough because it's too hard for us to transition from that sibilant sound into the normally we just add an S. It just extends the sibilance to it, right? My example is try saying churches without the ES on it. It's very difficult for us to pronounce. So in those cases, we don't add S, we add ES. But like I said, there are cases where when it's just a single S at the end of the noun, you have to be careful. There's many examples of nouns that, so singular nouns that already end in S that we consider what's called uncountable. So they don't really even have a plural form. And here are some examples: physics, mathematics, economics. You can see the rest here. Measles, mumps, diabetes. They don't have a plural, so you wouldn't put ES on the end of them, even though they're ending in S. They just are what they are. Okay, the next.
But are they still plural though?
We don't consider these plural. There's two different ways to think about it. You can either think of them as they're already plural, or they don't ever have a plural.
That was like the assignment we did, right? With the S, some of them sounded. What was it? What was it?
The collective nouns?
Yeah, some of them sound collective, but they're plural because of the S.
Yeah, well, so that's a little different because a collective noun, well, it contains many things. We're thinking of it as a unit, one thing, right? It's a container kind of a situation. And you can have a plural collective noun, right? Like
Geese. Geese could be sound like a collective if you're talking about the whole geese in general, right? Or like a
here's what you should always think about when you're going to see if something is a collective or not. Ask yourself, does it contain other things? So does geese contain a goose? No, it doesn't contain them. It's not a group. It's just more than one goose. So that's a plural, not a collective.
I've always thought plural is like meaning one for some reason.
Plural means more than one.
And a collective means plural plus more or plural plus.
So here's an example. Let's use team as our example. So team, just the noun team. That's collective, right? Because it contains players, right?
But geese could contain a pack of geese, no?
There's a different word for a collection of geese, and it's not geese. Geese is just a simple plural. So sticking with our teams analogy thing here, I just said it. You can make a plural collective. Collective can be singular or plural. We can say teams by just adding the simple S, right?
Yeah.
Means we have multiple collections of players, right? So we
Yeah.
can have a plural collective as well as a singular collective. Yeah,
Okay.
inside, if you dig down inside of it, there's more than one thing inside, but that's, not something you should really be thinking about. It's just, okay,
Okay.
the word itself, a collective noun, the word itself normally is singular as a container. Like you wouldn't say you have a bunch of pennies at home and you've been putting them in a jar, right? So the jar, it's full of pennies. Do you say jars of penny?
No.
Here's a collection, singular jar. It's got a bunch of pennies inside, sure, but it's just one unit containing things inside.
Oh, and then singular would be just the jar, the pennies.
Jar, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Jars, sure, we got multiple jars. Maybe I got a jar that has pennies and a jar that has quarters, so we can make plurals out of it. Whereas these, so switching now back into what we're talking today,
Hmm.
okay,
Okay.
these uncountable nouns, they're called uncountables. You can't make
it,
a out of them.
Professor Drain, is it like a bouquet of flowers? It's like the bouquet, it's many flowers in one, but if we want to just plural the flowers, we would just say flowers, like
Exactly.
that
So
is
the
bouquet.
collective noun is we're trying to sort of add more meaning to it. So I could just tell you flowers, like I have some flowers here. Okay, well, maybe I got a flower over here and a flower over there or something like that. But when I add the more semantics to it, saying it's a bouquet, that means these flowers are all contained together in one unit. So that's the collective noun thing. I know it can be confusing, but again, the tool that you can use is to ask yourself, does it contain things? So getting back to like the geese thing. When I say geese to you, or do you think of something that's containing a bunch of goose? No, you just think of a bunch of goose out there in the field wandering around or something, right? It's like more than one goose.
Okay.
Hope that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, it does. Maybe with more practice
Yeah,
in the sentence format.
I give you all these writing assignments, right? At the very beginning, I told you, I don't really teach you how to write. I coach your writing. The only way to do it is practice makes perfect. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so why are we bringing this up here in noun plurals? Well, I'm just saying that with nouns that end in S, so these are the plural forms, so they end in S, but their singular form did not end in S, right? Car did not end in S. A singular noun that does end in S, there's not that many of them, but there are some. You just need to be careful, right? Is it one of these uncountable things? Then I can't even make a plural. Just stop right there. It is what it is. But if it isn't one of those uncountable things, most of the time that you see a singular noun ending in S, it's a proper noun, somebody's name. Those are the vast majority of singular nouns that end in S. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so we just covered the case of adding ES, right? So we're kind of working down our chart here. I'll go into this chart in more detail after I go through these bullet points. Okay, so the next cases are nouns that end in a consonant plus O. They also need the ES added. So here's our examples of potato, right? So that's a consonant, N-O, T-O. See, contrast that with the one up here. So this was ending in O, but it's a vowel O. So if it's a vowel O, just the S most of the time. If it's consonant vowel, then ES. Okay. Okay, so those are the cases where we just add something to the end of the singular. Now we're getting into the cases where we actually have to replace part of the singular noun with something else. Right, so these are all add. Now it's replace. So nouns that end in a consonant plus Y. So here's our example, baby, right? Consonant B, Y, vowel. You need to strip off the Y and replace it with IES. And the last one is nouns that end in F or FE. You need to strip off the F and replace it with VES. Here's the example, wife. We strip off, the F goes out. FE in this case goes out, and we put it back in VES, thief. F gets stripped off, replaced with VES. Okay. So great. You look at this chart and you go, okay, awesome. I got rules. I just use these rules all the time and I'll be good. No, this is English. There's so many exceptions. Irregular plural forms. Let's look at a few of them. So these kind of come in two flavors. First flavor is it doesn't even change. So aircraft, one aircraft, two aircraft. We don't change it. It is its own plural. This is different than the uncountable ones, which don't have a plural. This is the plural. It's just we don't bother to change the word. It's weird. English is weird. The second kind are back to my mouse. Mouse isn't. Oh, came back. The second kind is where we just have a whole different word for the plural. So child, children, goose, geese, mouse, mice, ox, oxen, woman, woman, loaf, loaves. How do you know these? You just have to memorize them all. Okay, and then there's the what's going on here? Then there's just the weird ones. So here's a list of 100 things. A lot of these are like weird, originally Greek formed words. Those are the ones that, we put the I on the end for the plural. But there's just so many irregular words, irregular noun plurals. What was I going to say? I think a lot of these are due, like I was saying, they are originally from the Greek or they're from the Italian, like piano is one. So how do you know? This is where your word processor's spell check is going to really help you out. Okay. So I just want to give you that heads up that this is, the best I can do is to give you these sort of general rules. But on top of that, you need to at least realize that there are hundreds of irregular forms. Okay. I also have this chart in the reference module, so while you're writing, just if you have a question about something, if Word isn't already telling you. We will see when we get to the exercises that sometimes the spell check can lead you down the wrong path. And I'll just say, you can't 100% depend on spell check telling you what the correct noun plural is, because it doesn't know your intent. Okay, so that's that. Some more notes. So hyphenated compound nouns like mother-in-law or water bottle, where do we put the S? We put it on what we call the principal noun. So we don't say mother-in-laws, we say mothers-in-law, because mother is the principal part here. Similar with a water bottle, it would be water bottles because it's about a bottle, it happens to hold water, right? So bottle is the primary noun here. And then also is the same case for non-hyphenated multi-word noun phrases like bus stop or full moon. You put the S on the principal word. So it wouldn't, it would be bus stops and full moons, right? Okay, here's the big takeaway I want to send out to you, because from prior experience, what I get back when people are trying to do noun plurals is they put the apostrophe on there. So today, we're only talking about normal noun plurals, not possessive nouns, okay? That's the next module next week, is making possessive nouns, foreign possessive nouns. If it's not about a possessive noun, just the kind of normal everyday stuff here, it's just plural nouns, never use an apostrophe, never. Okay, so there are some old grammar rules about numbers that said to make a plural number, you add apostrophe s. So you may look at old stuff, you may see some references even online and say, oh, you know, to make a number plural, you do apostrophe s. We don't do that anymore. That's old school. So even if you're making a plural of a number, just add the s to it. No apostrophe. Okay, so I already touched on these irregular noun plural forms. There's the ones that it's just a different word.
What about the Oakland's? That would be as.
Yes. Unless you're talking about, is it belonging to the A's? Then it would be apostrophe S. Let's not go there. That's next week. So there's like the form of, it's just a different word. Why? Who knows? It's just weird. And then there's the other case where it's the same word, a deer and a deer. It's the same word. It's still plural. It's just the same word. We didn't bother to change it. Here's this video here. Kind of says the same thing I just said. So maybe if you're still having some issues and not understanding, maybe watch the video on your own, but and here's the transcription anyway. Now I will point out that she in her table doesn't put just a single S in the sibilant thing. And I think the reason that she doesn't do that is for the reasons I gave up here, that you need to be careful for singular nouns ending in S, that they're not one of these uncountable things. However, I'm deciding to add it here because there are many other that don't fit into this uncountable category. Again, I say many other, but there aren't that many singular nouns ending in S. But of the ones that there are many that aren't one of these uncountable things, and you would add ES. Irises is an example, right? Oh, I have that right here, irises. Okay, it's 10:30. So let's go ahead and take our 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and do our noun plural exercises in class. Okay, we're back. Trying to arrange my screens here so I can have both the chart and the exercise at the same time. Yeah, there's a couple of questions on the quiz. So a couple of people reached out to me and were like, oh, can I take it over again? No. The CABT quizzes, unlike the module quizzes, the module quizzes again are for your own benefit, just to like double check that you got coverage over everything that was discussed. Take them over and over again. You get the answers, great. The CABT quizzes, think of them as a pre-exam. I always have them paired with an exam that's going to come up in the following 2 weeks. It's like your exam prep. Think of it like that. You only get one chance at it, and it's timed. But don't worry about it. You know, most of the things that people were saying, oh, I missed that, the other thing, they're only 1-pointers, so it's not going to make that big of a difference on your grade. But do use it as a learning opportunity to practice for the upcoming exam. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the assignment here is in 2 parts. First part is this practice table, and then the second part is you're going to edit these and fix them. So this is a text box kind of assignment, so you're just going to copy and paste these into the text box. Now what I'm doing right now, and you can do this too if you like, is before I paste it into the text box, I'm actually putting it into Word. Close the door. Fire. Putting it into Word, this will give you a little bit of, help with the spell check, although there is some limited spell check built into the Canvas text box thing. But I wanted to do this, I have a purpose, my madness, to kind of show you how sometimes the spell check can bring you down the wrong path. Okay, so here we are. We have the chart over here and the rules and whatnot. And then we have our practice over here. So singular forms, dog, cat, marker, assistant. What would be the plural for dog? Is it any one of these special case things in the chart? What's more than one dog?
Dogs,
Dogs. It's just a simple add S, right? But cat,
cats,
cats, simple, just add the S. They're just simple. Marker.
markers,
Yeah, so yeah, it's a ER, but that's not one of these. It's not a sibilant sound, right? It's not one of these. So it's just markers. And assistant. Is it anything special?
assistant,
It's basically- Okay, and Word's not marking any of these as misspelling, so maybe we got it right. Okay, what about copy and baby? So these end in Y. So when it ends in Y, you need to go, oh, ends in Y. That could be weird. So it could be this case or this case. So is it a vowel plus Y or a consonant plus Y? So both of these are P and B. Those are consonants, right? So this is consonant plus Y. The consonant plus Y, we do this one. So we actually have to edit. We can't just add on. We have to get rid of the Y and put IES, right? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Just like that. Okay, what about this? Class, tax, wish, wash. They all have the sibilant sound at the end, right? So that is this special case. They're ending with these sibilant sounds. So we have to add, not just simple S like we normally do, we have to add an ES. So that would be class is. Tax is. Wish is. Wash is. And I'd say just try pronouncing them without the ES. Class is, it's just more a sound. So we need the E in there to sort of break it up. Stop the sibilant, normal ending sibilant sound and add the additional sibilant sound for the plural. Okay, what about these? Boy, key, attorney. So another ending in Y. So we know it's going to be either this word case or this word case. So is it vowel plus Y or consonant plus Y? So it's OY, EY, EY. So that's all vowel plus Y. So do we have to do anything kind of weird? Not really. We just add the S. Attorneys is one word where people always want to do the IES thing.
So we add the apostrophe before the S if they're doing an action.
No, 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 no. For right now, today, these are just normal, everyday nouns that we're making.
Okay.
No apostrophes, okay? No apostrophes. We're going to talk about apostrophes in next week. That is when you get into possessiveness and contractions. Those are the only two places I want you to think about using an apostrophe.
Okay.
Like I said, I always get this back and people are like apostrophe, apostrophe, apostrophe. No. Okay, wife and thief. Okay, these are the FE ending ones, right? So that's this box over here ending in F or FE. And again, it's when we just don't add something, we have to change it, we have to replace. So, yeah, already gave you the example here in the box. If you get this one wrong, you got no one to blame. All right, how about these ones? Portfolio and radio. So the ending in O, so kind of like the ending in Y. If it ends in Y or it ends in O, you know you got to do something different. And it's just like, okay, which one? Does it have a consonant or a vowel, right? So all these IO, they're both ending in vowel plus O. So what do we do if it just ends in a vowel plus O? What do we do? Ending in vowel plus O. What do we do?
Add S.
There it is. These are other ones like attorneys where people like to do something different. Nope, it's just add S. Okay, what about these though? These end in O, but it's consonant O, T and R. What do we do if it has consonant O? Do we just add S?
ES.
Yes. Okay. Everybody got that so far in your text box? Or in your word that you're gonna then paste into your text box?
So if it's a consonant vowel, then you add the ES. I think that's what you said, right?
Yep, it's this rule right here in this box right here, ending in a consonant plus O. So I think for me, the way, I mean, it's all this stuff to remember. Oh, how do I remember all this stuff? And I always try to give you like little tricks to help you remember things. So for me in this thing, it's like, okay, does it end in a Y or end in an O? I got to think about it. It's complicated. I got to remember these rules over here, right? And it depends on if it's a vowel Y, a consonant Y, or a vowel O or a consonant O. Got to do something special. Does it end in a sibilant sound? I got to do something special. Special is just adding ES. Okay. Is it one of these weird ends in F sound? Then you got to do something special. If it's not one of those things, doesn't end in a Y, doesn't end in an O, doesn't have sibilant or end in F or FE, then it's just put the S on the end. Unless it's one of the thousands of irregular noun plurals. Maybe
Okay,
not.
thank
The irregular noun plurals, that's where your word spell check will help you out. You'll try to put these on there and it'll be like, aircrafts? That's not a word. I don't know that word. It's not in my dictionary. Okay, so everybody got the first part in their text box? Good. I can go ahead. All right, so part two. These are sentences we have to correct. Setting healthy workplace boundaries is an important task for each of us. So already we're getting a clue. Word or your text box spell check is telling us boundaries is not spelled right. So boundary is the root singular noun. So that ends in Y. So we know we got to do something weird. So it ends in Y, but it has a consonant in front of it. So it's this one, right? Got to change it. You got to take off the Y and put IES. Make sense? Well, I don't know if it makes sense. It's English. It doesn't make sense. It just is what it is. Because world markets are expanding, many companies are going global. Okay, it's already giving us a clue. Companies, that's probably not a word that it knows, not in its dictionary. So the root singular noun is company, ends in Y. This is a consonant plus Y, NY, right? So what do we do when it's consonant Y? IES. We'd have to take off the Y and put in IES. All right. Surprisingly, business is better on Sundays than on weekends. Hey, it's not flagging any spell check problem. This sentence is correct. There's nothing wrong with it. Wrong. I want you to remember, spell check, all it does is it has a built-in dictionary, which is just a list of words that are correctly spelled. And it just searches that list for all the words that you're typing in the word. Do I find a match? Oh, I found a match. That is a real word. Is it the right word? I have no idea. I'm just Word. I'm an idiot. I don't have any intelligence. I can't tell you if you chose the right word. I'm just telling you that's a word. So in this case, Sundays, that's a word, but it's got that apostrophe. What did I say? No apostrophes. So this actually means something that belongs on Sunday. And again, we're going to get to that next week. Possessive nouns.
But it doesn't even need the S, right?
Well, I mean, maybe. Let's see what it sounds like. Surprisingly, business is better on Sunday than on weekdays. I mean, I think that's okay, but we really want to mean every Sunday, right? Business is better every Sunday than it is on any weekday. That's one thing. It's like this is all right, but it doesn't 100% convey the idea I'm trying to say. The second thing is we covered this last semester is the parallelism thing. So we already have weekdays, so we kind of want to do matchy, right? To have parallel language. So we like
Yeah.
it be a plural Sunday, all Sundays. Doesn't belong to Sunday. Okay, but it ends in Y. So we got to be careful. Consonant, no, sorry, vowel Y, AY. So it's vowel plus Y. So what do? Do we have to say IES or just S? Is it this case or this case?
Which is an S. That's because I don't see what would be
S.
ES, yeah.
It's correct because it's a vowel, right? Vowel plus Y, AY. Okay, so I wanted to bring this into Word just for this exact purpose to show you that you cannot rely on the spell check 100% of the time. Here's my little, is it an analogy or a metaphor? I don't know, it's one of the two. So where I live in essentially my backyard is the Blue Ball Park in SoCal. I don't know if you guys know where that park is, but it's got a really nice place where people walk their dogs. Any time of day you can go over there and there's a bunch of people walking their dogs. And I go over there and I walk with my son all the time and I see a lot of people walking the dogs and I had an epiphany that there are two kinds of people that walk their dogs. There's the one kind of person walking their dog and the dog's walking along and the dog sees something that wants to smell or something and it picks over and it starts smelling the thing and the dog walker person says something like leave it and the dog goes okay and it stops smelling it and they walk along and it's very well behaved. That's person type number one. Person type number two, the dog's going crazy. The dog just goes wherever the dog wants to go. It's taking the owner. It's like who's walking who here, right? The dog's walking the person. They're not in control of their dog. Dog just does whatever they want. So spell check, I want you to be the type number one. I want you to be in control of your spell check. If spell check is telling you something, it's up to you to say, oh, okay, maybe that's important, or leave it, it's fine. Okay, so you'll have cases where you have a finished paper and it's got some red squigglies in there. Why? Because Word didn't know that word. It's not in the words dictionary. Maybe it's some technical term it doesn't have, right? You can add words to the dictionary. I don't even want to go into that right now. That's something we'll cover in the Word class. But just be aware that spell check is just sort of your helper aid. It's like your little dog on the leash, and it's up to you to guide that dog. All right, and it's here where Sundays you would have said, well, that's perfectly fine. You never even want to give it a second thought because it didn't put a red squiggle under it, but you were using the possessive form, not the plural form. How does Word know that? It doesn't know that. All right, enough of that. She said attorneys are the primary benefactors of class action suits. So already we're using Word to help us get a clue. Attorney seems to be the problem here. So the root singular noun is attorney, right? Which is ending in Y. So we know it's going to be one of these things, right?
AYS.
Yeah, so here's an example of somebody who may be overthinking it, right? They thought it was this thing. Oh, ends in Y, I gotta do the IES thing. But the root thing was that, right? So it's, or sorry, UI, so it's just sneak. Oh, now I did it. No, I messed this up totally. Okay, there we go. Right? Because the root one is EY, so val plus Y, just S. Don't go crazy overthinking. All right, next one. Only the Welches and the Sanchez's brought their entire families. Again, sort of similar to the other one. I don't see a problem here. Spell check's not flagging anything. But remember, no apostrophes. So again, similar to the other one, this is trying to indicate possessiveness. Something belongs to the Sanchez's. And are we trying to say that here? No, we're just want to say the Sanchez's is plural. Right? So no apostrophe. Is it just S? No. Why? Why is it not just S?
Um,
Has that sibilant sound on the end, right? Sanchez ends in Z. So we have to do ES. Oop, Sanchez. Okay, here's my second thing about spell check. It's giving you a thing. Hey, this looks wrong. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. It's just not in its dictionary. It doesn't have the plural form of the proper noun Sanchez in its dictionary. Who would, right? So it's going to mark it as wrong, not wrong. Sudoku. Oh, anybody play Sudoku? I play every day. Keeps my mind going. Sudoku only had 2 ones in today's puzzle. But be careful here. There's an apostrophe there and an apostrophe there. So remember, I don't know if you remember, but I said you need to kind of be a little bit careful with, where did I say it? Numbers. Numbers. Yes, right here. Old school said numbers, plural of a number, which is what we're trying to say here. It had 2 ones. Old school said put an apostrophe, but modern grammar, no. Now, that's how we correct the sentence. But if you also remember, I said we spell out the numerals 0 to 10 inclusive. So my recommendation here would be don't even go there with this, spell it out. O-N-E. Okay, now what about the second one? What about that apostrophe? It's in today's puzzle. Again, we haven't talked about possessive nouns, that's next week, but that's what this is trying to say. It belongs to today's puzzle. So that's all right. That's not a plural. That's ownership. I ordered 3 fishes from the market. Fishes.
Fish.
I ordered 3 fish. This is one of those non-standard ones where you just have to look up on the list or just remember from your experience that there's 1 fish, 2 fish. Hey, could go to that book by Dr. Seuss. Fish is its own plural. All right, next one. Voters in 3 counties. Okay, so it's one of those ends in Y ones, so we already know we got to be careful. So the root one would be county, the singular, right? So that's consonant Y. So where is that in our chart? Well, here's the Y things, vowel Y, consonant Y. So what do we gotta do? Right, we have to change it, not just add, we have to change it. We have to remove the Y and replace it with IES. The mouses were eating the corn. What's wrong with that? I don't see a spell check problem. What's wrong with that?
Or, um,
Mouses. Irregular noun plural. What's the plural for mouse? Right, so you gotta kind of think of it.
Mouses.
We've got, this chart, which is 90% of the time normal thing. We go to this chart and we look at how the word ends, but then we have all these irregulars. All these irregulars. I gave you some examples here and I gave you a link to a big list. So here, mouse, mice.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Mouse, mice. Okay, what about this last one? Both of her brother-in-laws have many children. What's wrong with brother-in-laws? Back to here, right? It's a hyphenated compound, brother-in-law. I want to make that plural. What's the principal noun here? Is it law or is it brother? We're talking mostly about some brothers or we're talking mostly about some laws?
Other?
Brother, right, just like over here, mothers-in-law. So that's the primary principle now. So that's where we put the S there, not there. Everybody got that? Got that all in your text box? If you're good, go ahead and submit. Okay.
Mr. Dwayne.
Yeah.
On the Sanchez's, would it also be okay if like it would just be the Welches and the Sanchez? Or it has to be Sanchez's for plural all the time?
Yeah, it has to be, each one has to be plural. Just sort of foreshadowing next week. When we talk about possessiveness, we have choices. Do you want to say something belongs to the Welshes and the Sanchez's together? Or do you want to say something belongs to the Welshes and something belongs to the Sanchez's? So we have options there, but that's for possessive next week. For just simple plurals, we have to pluralize them both. We don't really have choices there.
So how would it be like for my last name? Do you think it would be Rivas if I was talking about my family, like in plural? Or just the Rivas?
I would, let's go back to the church. This is one of those, you gotta be careful ones because it's just this case, right? Ending in S. Or is it ending in a sibilant sound? So in your case, I would say that's a sibilant sound, right? Rivas. It's like escaping air sound. So I would go in this category with the ES, which I think is correct.
how do you drop a file into the text thing? It doesn't let me.
That's because I said this was a text box only.
Oh, so I
we
just
can't.
copy
So
paste it on
mark it, copy, paste.
Okay.
Yeah, I go back and forth on that. When I set up these assignments, if it's a simple text box one, I usually just click the thing that says submit as text box. But I have the option of saying or a file. And I haven't been doing that because I didn't want people thinking, oh, I gotta go in Word and make this thing if you didn't have to. But on the other hand, if you did, like we did, like I did here, just to be able to use Word spell check, well, it'd probably be easier if I offered you the option to either do the text box or attach a file. I don't know. You let me know if you think I should have that option. I'm trying to make it like as least confusing as possible. So if I only give you one option, there can't be any confusion. Okay. Yeah, Amy, going back to that, basically the question is, for this special case here with a sibilant sound, do you include just a single S in this list or not? Right? It already has the SS thing, so anything that's ending in SS, no question, that's totally sibilant sound, it's ES. But if it just ends in S, you got to be careful. Just ask yourself, does it have this hissing air sound? Yeah, okay, then it's yes. If it doesn't, then it's just simple S. And that's kind of why I added it to the list, but she doesn't have it in her list. I give you sort of two viewpoints on it.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. I originally didn't have that in there. Like, I don't know if you recall, but back in 156, I didn't have the single S in this category. But then I was like, there are so many words like irises. And I didn't want you to feel like, hey, this rule is useless, right? Because I keep typing into Word what I think it should be, and it keeps marking it as a spelling mistake. And it's really ES. So in the interest of having you have more faith in using the rules, I went ahead and added the single S here. So you're like, okay, I should at least consider the ES case versus just the S case.
Yeah, what's the rule? I before it, or because it's S after the vowel, but it's I before. Shit,
I
what is it?
before E except after C or and sounding like A is a neighboring way, but that's not anything we're talking about today.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay, that's all right. Good question.
Can I see the top part?
The top part up here?
Yes, the box.
Of
Thank
the
you.
box. Oh, okay. Another way to kind of decide whether the single S should be ES or not is sure there's the uncountable things, but if it's not one of those, try to pronounce it like I did here. Try to pronounce churches without the ES. It's like, wow, that's super hard. And then maybe it's a ES. So like it's like that's too hard to pronounce.
Except for tomatoes,
Tomatoes. Well, I'm not saying
tomatoes. Yeah,
that's a sibilant case, right? That's just in the same row because it's about adding ES, but it isn't a sibilant ending thing. That's about it ends in O. Ask yourself, is it vowel O or consonant O? That's all you got to do.
yeah.
Do you recall, you're probably not of the correct age, but do you recall the famous vice president who got up in front of the elementary school class and did this wrong? And said that you
No,
spell singular noun potato with an E on the end?
no,
Yeah,
but that's a tough one. I think a lot of people get that wrong, right?
a lot of people do
Potato.
that.
Potato. It's a toe.
Yeah, I wish I could give you like a memory aid thing there, but not so much.
So it is with the E on the end.
Not when it's singular. Just
Oh shit, see?
yeah, you make the same thing. All right, I think everybody's got it by now, yeah? Submitted? Good.
No, I haven't. So on keys on the chart,
Keys on the chart. Oh,
does it have an ES? Oh no, it doesn't. It's just
keys. Where's keys? Oh, here. Well, look at the chart, right? So the singular is KEY. So okay, ends in Y. So I gotta either do this or I gotta do that. So is it vowel Y or consonant Y? Well, it's E. So that's a vowel Y, right? So that's this one, just S.
It was giving me the other one. The laptop was giving me. Terminal.
Spell checking this? And this is wrong?
The computer was doing it.
Really? Simon Word, it's not, it's good.
Glasses, but it was wrong.
Mhm. Oh, you mean you had IES on it and it wasn't marking it as a misspelled?
It gave me the choice.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know about that. Again, spell check. It's not the final thing. It's just, it's your dog. Put your dog on a leash. All right, can I go ahead? Are we still doing it?
Um,
Remember, you always got the recording. So if
yes,
you're
I got it. I got it.
not listening today, go back and review the recording. All right, so I think we're done with this.
Mhm.
Okay, next.
Yay.
Got our normal discussion. So my question to you in this discussion is, since we're talking about persuasiveness, things have changed a lot in the last few years, right? With the whole Yelp reviews and social media and all that stuff. So people rely on product reviews that, normal people post online, presumably by ordinary citizens. However, as we know, they're not necessarily just ordinary citizens. Sometimes companies use paid reviewers or they're reviewers of their site to put on these fake reviews. And Yelp got in a big lot of trouble a few years back for this. They've been called out for fake paid reviews. What's the word for this? Is a funny word. Astroturfing. You ever heard that? Astroturfing?
Yeah.
So, it comes from like grassroots. Like if something's coming from the people, it's grassroots effort. But when it's fake, it's astroturf.
Oh well, I didn't know. I thought it was just I knew what it meant, but I didn't know it came from that.
What does it come from that? People have co-opted it for that purpose. Like, this isn't grassroots, this is astroturf. It's fake. Okay.
It means to launch, right? Like falsely launch something? Or
What, grassroots by itself?
no, I thought astroturfing meant like to fake something.
Yeah, it does. It means just what we're saying here. It means to fake something as if it just organically came out of the people's consciousness.
Oh, okay.
Usually used for like political movement stuff, like, oh, that was a grassroots effort by these people to, stop this highway bypass from being built. Right? It didn't come from some government guy. It was the people maybe getting signatures or something like that. That's called a grassroots effort.
Yeah.
But when it's falsified, like we're talking about here with these reviews, then I'm just saying there's a funny word that people have used that said that's astroturfing. It's like,
Yeah.
but it's fake grassroots. Okay. So, they try to crack down on this stuff. Amazon's threatening people, they're going to sue them for fake reviews. Why is this important? Why is it important that online reviews be trustworthy? So that's the question. And finally, have you ever been misled by reviews? Share an experience. I mean, my experience with the reviews is I'll go to look at something and there'll be the first review, this is the greatest thing in the world. And the very second review, this is the most horrible thing in the world. What do I do with that? Okay, and the usual, after you've done that, try to find somebody else's and that you can relate to and start a conversation with. Okay, next. And there's a simple little module quiz. And there's only 4 or 5 questions in here. And remember, these, maybe I should change the name of these, something else, that's not says quiz, like self-check or something like that, because I don't want you to get these quizzes confused with the CABT quizzes. These quizzes, although they are timed, they're only 5 questions, and you can take them, well, I say as many times as you want, but you get 3 attempts. But as soon as you take it the first time, it gives you the answers. So if you want to, you can just do it a second time, put all the right answers in, you get 100%. But the goal of these is for you to check that you have understanding of everything that was covered in the module. Whereas the goal of the CABT quiz is to prepare you for the CABT exam. Okay. That's it for week 5. So what did we learn? We learned about the persuasiveness, which honestly I couldn't get too excited about and spend too much time on, because it seems like it's 90% the same thing we've been doing with all of our other requests, claims, and complaints. We're just adding this persuasiveness layer to the top. And then we talked about plural nouns. So the next module, we're going to go second phase into persuasive messages, and then we're also going to have exam 1. Heads up that one of the exercises in next week's pervasive thing is for you to look at some ads that you've seen either in print or online and try to analyze them for their persuasive tactics. So you might want to get a head start on that now if you're just looking at stuff online or looking through magazines or whatever. If you see something and you're like, hey, look at this ad, they're doing all these persuasive tricks that we talked about. Clip it out, put a bookmark on it, whatever, because we're going to use that next week. Okay. Any questions on any of this stuff so far? Nope.
Oh, thank you.
That's it for today. I'll be in the CTC if you want to zoom in or come in or whatever, talk about stuff.
Okay, thanks, Professor Strong.
Okay.
Did you say we're gonna take that module quiz for week 5?
Do you want to do it in class or you want to do it on your own?
I'd rather do it in class, but I don't know. Does everybody want to go?
On those, since, like I just said, take it, it gives you back the answers. I don't know that there's much of a benefit of us all doing it together.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So,
All righty then. Thank you.
okay. I'll be happy to do it with you if you want.
No, it's okay. I can do it.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.